What's up, y'all? It's Ty. In this video today, I'm going to be going over giving you guys a complete breakdown of the breakout gauntlet in NBA 2K26 MyTEAM. What is the breakout gauntlet? Is it worth grinding? How many cards you need? Can you lose? What are the prizes? What should you do lineup-wise? When does it get hard? All of those things are going to be broken down in this video. Now, as we do dive into it, if you're new to the channel, smash the subscribe button. I appreciate all the support on the channel as always. Now, I want to start with this. How many players do you need to play the breakout gauntlet, and how to approach it? Because here's the deal. You really don't need good players until you get to the red tier. Once you get, I think it's all-star. Once you get to the all-star tier, the games get really hard. Before then, I think it's relatively, at least for you know, if you're decent at the game, it should be relatively easy for you. But the problem is, if you only have, let's say, 100 cards, like, a lot of them are going to be your good cards. And again, you're not going to want to use your good cards until the end, because in Breakout Gauntlet, you're up against yourself. Once you use a card, those cards are done. So for example, if I went into this first game, an easy lineup breakout triple threat game, and for example, the bonus objective is 5 defensive rebounds. So okay, it's a triple threat game. I just need 5 rebounds. You'd want to use some of your worst golds, okay, and probably even some WNBA cards if you can, right? Because you're not gonna need good lineups, but you're gonna want to use some WNBA gold. So maybe like Jewel Lloyd, maybe like a center, because you are gonna need to get the 5 defensive rebounds. So maybe you run like Shakira Austin. So for example, could go in there with this squad. Now, I would try to complete the objectives, because for example, for every objective you complete, you get 1 random card from your lineup back. So once you use a card, they're done. So all 3 of these cards should be done. But if you complete an objective, you get 1 of those 3 random cards back. Okay, so then I'll have, instead of 291 out of 294, I'd still have 292 out of 294 moving into our next game. Once you use a player, you're done. You can gain a player back by completing a bonus objective. So that's just kind of the map to this. Again, use gold and emeralds all throughout, really until you get to at least the blue tier. Once you get to the blue tier, maybe you want to use emeralds and sapphires. I will say this though, 2K matches you with your own skill level. So for example, I'll just start this game and play this game to give you guys a better picture of how to win, because a lot of people struggle with how to win too. And honestly, rim running is going to be your best friend. I'm trying to help you guys out as much as possible. The more you run to the rim, the better off you're going to be. Now, what do I like to do? I like to just kind of let them take whatever shots they want. Obviously, again, if they knock down shots, it can get a little tougher, but Jewel Lloyd going to be my best player here. So again, run to the rim, and I obviously wanted to just take a layup there, but you knock down the shot. Now again, how do I do it? Well, basically, I X switch right away. So hold down A if you're on Xbox, X if you're on PlayStation, and get my center on the opposing point guard. And then what I try to do is force them to run to the rim, and then ultimately, you know, have them take a tough layup is really what I like to do. Obviously, again, defensively, it can get tough at times, but overall, it shouldn't be that difficult. On rookie difficulty, if you have, you know, decent cards, they should be able to knock down shots, right? Like, it shouldn't be that difficult to ultimately shoot the ball. There's a miss already. And again, just run in transition. Now, a lot of people, if you're struggling to beat this, just run full court pick and roll. So for example, right there, you get the ball behind half court, you call a pick and roll, and then you just basically run deep hash. If you don't know what deep hash is, go back to 2K19 videos on my channel. I talk all about it. You basically run as wide as you can on the game, as wide as the game will let you, and you get ultimately to the rim. Now again, you don't, if you have, you know, 300 players, you don't really even need to worry about your bonus objectives until you start using your good cards, good players. However, if you're trying to keep all the players possible, if you start this and have, let's say, because you can start this without having all of the players needed. So if you start this and have, let's say, less than 200 players, you're probably going to want to complete the bonus objectives. And honestly, I wouldn't start Breakout Gauntlet unless you're planning on, like, number one, unless you have a lot of MT that you can go and spend on buying cards off the auction house. Because right now the cheapest card is like 1.5 thousand MT, so you are gonna have to spend a decent amount of MT, ultimately on cards. But that's just something that you guys can look at as well. As if you have a lot of players, then you don't really have to worry about the bonus objectives, and then it can ultimately make it a lot easier to figure out for you guys. But like I said, for me, the more layups you get in this game, the better off you're gonna be. Why do I switch my center onto the point guard? It's really just to speed the process of the game up. I do the same thing in normal breakout, right? I just want my opponent to take quick shots. I want to get through games as quickly as possible. And it's just kind of something I've discovered is if you switch, your point guard or your center onto their point guard, right, they're going to most often take a quick shot. Now, again, if I really wanted defensive rebounds, I'd not necessarily do this. I would worry more about, getting stops and actually getting, rebounds. But the way I see it right now, at least, is I'm not struggling a whole ton. My guys are knocking down, or my girls, I should say, are knocking down shots, and we're overall gonna get this done. Now, again, if you want to, at the very end, you can try to get an extra rebound or two, especially if you have a good lead. This is not a game that is really in much jeopardy, though. Like, I should, knock down a three here with Jewel Lloyd. Oh, man, what horrible spacing right there. But honestly, again, when I get to 18, I try to just knock down a three, just for the sole fact of I just want the game ultimately to be over. But oh my gosh, can they just shoot the ball so I can proceed? But realistically, games are going to take you longer than they should at the beginning. But a lot of it, again, is because you are using, WNBA players, right? You're using bad players. So, for example, I didn't get the objective done, okay? And this is what I want to hit on. I didn't get the objective done. MT-wise, you're not going to make a ton of MT playing Breakout Gauntlet. Like, I got basically 223, not crazy, not high. But if you don't get any objectives done, those three players are done. I can no longer use those players in my collection. So now I'm down to 291 players, which realistically is enough. Like, that's plenty of enough to, get the gauntlet done. But what I will say is once you run out of players, or once you get low on players, you're going to have to go buy players. And again, players can be somewhat expensive. It adds up in a hurry. So honestly, I wouldn't even approach Breakout Gauntlet unless you have 250 to 300 players. I just wouldn't. I also do want to make a side note. You can't run out of players and then go pick up players. Once you get under 10, guys, make sure you are going to pick up players. You do not want to run out of players. Because let's say you get all the way to, the red tier here, and then you run out of players when you're almost done. That is going to be a big time slap in the face for you guys if you are grinding Breakout Gauntlet. Ultimately, how long does it take? I don't know, 8-9 hours is what I'm thinking. But again, it really depends on the quality of your team, because the better your team is, or at least you have to have some decent cards at the red and purple tier, and especially the blue tier, the better off you are going to be. I will say the blue tier didn't end up being that hard for me. So again, once you get to that red tier, you can really ramp up your lineup and start using better and better cards. Now, what do you get from playing Breakout Gauntlet? Well, here's what you get. You get a card in which you can get basically a Season 1 mode completion event card. You can exchange the Gauntlet card for that. You can exchange the Gauntlet card for, a AMI, a Hall of Fame badge, some MT. But really, once you complete the Gauntlet once and you get Jack Sikma, Jason Kidd, or Glen Rice, that's really all that's really worth it. So for me, am I going to ever play the Breakout Gauntlet again after I've got it done? Not until next season, right? I think the normal Breakout is more worth it than the Breakout Gauntlet for me at this stage. But that is something to note. Now here you guys see, what are these things? So you guys can see once you win a few games, you will get prize options. Now, you can take one prize per the two available, and you can do that as many times as you want. However, if you do play a prize game, it does count for the amount of games you have. So you will lose games for taking a prize. I wasn't sure about it when I did my run. I had a lot of players left over, and especially when you get to the end here, there are some solid prizes. Like, I think I saw 2,500 MT. And honestly, like, for one game, it's probably worth doing. So if you do see any prizes that you do want to take, and you have plenty of players remaining, it is, in my opinion, ultimately worth your time to do. Now, again, do I think Breakout Gauntlet is worth it? I think if you have a decent amount of cards, it is a really solid mode to grind. I just want you guys to know and realize, like, MT-wise, it's not great. XP-wise, I'm not necessarily sure. Rep-wise, again, I'm not necessarily sure. And for me, you actually have to worry, if you don't have a ton of cards, about doing the bonus objectives. However, when I play Breakout, I can just mindlessly play the game, right? Like, in Breakout, I can play a triple threat game, and I don't have to worry about really anything. I can just play the game and chill. And that is something that I really do enjoy, is like, in Breakout Gauntlet, guys, you have to sweat. It's not going to be a chill game mode. You have to sweat. You got to make sure you don't lose. I load up normal Breakout, guys. My feet are kicked up. My feet are kicked up. I'm not worried about it. And so that's just kind of another thing to think about, is Breakout is a chill mode. Domination is a chill mode. Breakout Gauntlet is like the showdown of offline games. Like, genuinely, it is not an easy game mode to play whatsoever. So again, if you do go into it, you have to be decent at the game. You can't be, not good at the game and expect a complete Breakout Gauntlet. At least have it be easy. Like, it is going to be a tough thing to do. But I want you guys to know there are people out there that have really done it with just gold cards, and that's it. So it is possible to do, but I'm just telling you guys, warning you, like, I lost a few games, probably 4 or 5 games in my Breakout Gauntlet road. As I went through it. So don't think I will say this, don't expect to be perfect in Breakout Gauntlet. You're probably going to lose some games. You're going to get frustrated. But what I will say is this. I think Jack Sikma is elite, and I think Jason Kidd is elite. I think both cards are elite. So for me, I think Breakout Gauntlet, if you have the cards, is the easiest way to get a season completion reward. I don't even think it's relatively close. I think the difference between that and anything else is absolutely massive. And so for me, it was definitely worth it. I got Jack Sikma, and Jack Sikma is, in my opinion, if not the best big in the game, he is one of the best bigs in the game if he's not, because like, he is just so good, so elite, so easy to use on this game. Obviously, for me, my MVP of Breakout Gauntlet, honestly, was Kwame Brown, right? Like, I had Kwame at the time I did Breakout Gauntlet, and he carried me through the last few tiers. So find who you do enjoy using in Breakout Gauntlet. It should take you, I don't know, 7 to 10 hours to complete, somewhere in there. But again, the better team, the better cards that you ultimately have, the easier it's going to be. At the first, 3 levels, really use gold and emeralds. Don't do anything above that. But once you get to that, all-star level, then you can start ramping it up using better cards, those types of things. For me, that's going to wrap it up. Is Breakout Gauntlet worth it? I think for the season piece, it is. Outside of that, though, I'm just ultimately not the biggest fan of Breakout Gauntlet. Again, get your season piece from it, and that's it. Don't go back to it. Once you get that, you're moving and grooving. That's going to wrap it up, though, for our video. Drop a like on it, guys. Subscribe if you are new, and as always, man, I love you guys. Have a blessed day.